With version 3.4 Nova player system buffing a couple of fan favorite characters including Silver Wolf, Blade, Kafka, and Jing Liu, now they are more competitive again alongside the Amphorius characters. Their buff for sure has been a much needed change in the game for many players. Both Blade and Jing Liu are very competent in their role as DPS, while also having gimmicks to make them a bit more interesting to be played. Silver Wolf is more versatile with now she has AoE debuff capability with her ultimate, and also reliably inflicting weakness to the enemy, make her a lot easier to be used. And Kafka, being the mother of Dot of the current Dot system, she becomes an irreplaceable character for that team. With that being said, who should be buffed next? There are many candidates out there, but personally, for sure, all of the standard character really needs the buff. Is it likely though? I don't know, probably not. If Hoyo refuses to do so because it won't bring them that much revenue, and because of that, most likely they are going to prioritize limited time character first, it is such a shame. And because of that, we're going to prioritize limited time characters, mostly. So, among those limited time characters, who should get buff? What's up guys, KKaceh here, back to another discussion video for Honkai Star Rail. Before we start discussion further who should we buff next, if you like this kind of video and want to learn more about the game design and development together with me, do leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It will help me a ton and keep making discussion content much like this one. Anyway, sorry for the delay, let's get into the discussion, and we're going from the lowest to highest priority to be buff character, and at the same time, we're going to take a look at what is the current problem with the character kit. I think we should start with the most popular character of the year, Dan Heng, and specifically Dan Heng Il. At the moment, I think Dan Heng Il is still a pretty competent character, but he's just a bit demanding to be used, and not every players can make a good use of him, and his kit is a bit outdated at this point. But knowing how significant Dan Heng's role in Amphorius, I think there's a decent chance that he might get buffed soon. The thing is, I think most of his problem can be fixed without buffing him directly, because it seems that the obvious problem of Dan Heng Il is that there's not much proper build in terms of relics and more teammate that really helps his basic attack playstyle. He's still relying on characters from version 2.x, which is Sparkle, and even that Sparkle's buff of buffing quantum damage is wasted on him. His best in slot relic is still the very old relic from version 1.0, the Musketeer and the Waster Lander. With the exception the newer relic, the Poet set is very good for him, but there's a restriction on how you can play him. You have to play him with the action fast forwarder like Sparkle and Sunday, because the crit rate obtained is a huge boost for him, but for players who don't have the fast forwarder, they're pretty much doomed. But then again, he's losing the 2 pieces bonuses, so not exactly a relic tailored for him. This particular problem can be addressed with just a new relic that focuses on his basic attack playstyle. I did mention that his playstyle is a bit demanding because he's a very skill point hungry character. Without Sparkle, we will struggle quite a bit. Kit-wise, he can only be played comfortably in a very specific setup, as I've mentioned. Also, most of his buff that he gets from his skill and talent only lasts for a turn, unless you have his E4 unlocked, which means that players rarely able to make use of the maximum stacks for the buffs, since his buff is reached in the middle of his enhanced basic attack, disappears after his turn ends, meaning immediately. And lastly, if we take a look at his trace, what in the world is this? It is so vanilla compared to more modern characters. There are quite a few ways we can talk about in tweaking his kit, and I'm gonna leave that to another video specifically on how we can buff Dan Heng Il. Second character, Argenti. Honestly, Argenti kit is actually fine. The main problem with Argenti is his kit is way too vanilla at this point, and this is actually not his fault. Because the erudition pool is so saturated at this point, and we have a godlike character in that path. Compared to more recent erudition, especially the Herda, the godlike character, an Emanator, that has a kit packed with damage booster, be it from her talent or traces, and also she can immediately take action after her ultimate. And if we will make a comparison with Argenti, he only has crit rate boost up to 25%, that takes time to build up, and some energy gain traces and also dealing damage to enemies with less than 50% HP. Just take a look at the comparison between the text on these two characters' kit. This is just sad. I'm sorry I had to make this comparison since these two characters are the only characters that has similar playstyle, that relies on their ultimate to dish out their maximum damage. And other eruditions, Rappa is a super break, Anaxa and Jade are more a sub DPS character, Jing Yuan is a follow-up attack summoner that can take advantage of Sunday's full kit, so Herda and Argenti is just a direct competition. And just like Dan Heng Il, I have ideas on how we can grow Argenti's kit, but I'm going to make an individual videos about it for these characters, so stay tuned. Do you observe any other problem with Argenti's kit? Do let me know in the comment section. Number 3, our smart doctor, Dr. Ratio. At first, I wasn't sure whether I should put Topaz or Dr. Ratio for the third place, but I think Topaz is still a very solid follow-up attack support and a sub DPS, and maybe sometimes a better alternative than a Harmony character. While on the other hand, Dr. Ratio is just overshadowed by Fei Xiao, a character that is easier to play while also dealing a lot more damage. Dr. Ratio requires setup to perform well. His main source of damage is from his follow-up attack, but to trigger them reliably, you need to stack up some debuff on the enemy and also maintaining them, which categorize him as a chore character, much like the DOT team members. And that might change by the way with High Silence. There's also a minor restriction that his ultimate has. The Wise Folly from his ultimate, if the enemy dies before using both charges of the follow-up attack, it just disappears, wasting a free follow-up attack from him. Also, due to his chore nature, when we enter a new wave or phase in Memory of Chaos and Apocalyptic Shadow, we need to do the setup again. Much like Argenti, essentially it is not exactly Dr. Ratio's fault, but his competition is just better and easier to use compared to him. You can see that after seeing these 3 characters, you can see the pattern that at version 1.x, the developers really holding back with their character kit design. There's so many restrictions on them, while the newer one just unga bunga. And number 4, Trailblazer Preservation. I wonder if any of you expected this. Anyway, Trailblazer is not a standard character and cannot be obtained via gacha, so that's why I'm still including him here. And buffing Trailblazer means it will benefit all players, especially the newcomers that really need a decent sustained character. And not only that, buffing Trailblazer Preservation, I think it will increase the reputation of HSR as a game. And not to mention, it has been 10,000 years since we last saw a Preservation character. If the devs are not releasing new character, just buff Trailblazer Preservation for God's sake. Because of the reason I just mentioned, I think he deserves to be put on this list. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. All of us already know what the problem with Trailblazer at this point. Forget about having utility as a sustain. Like Aventurine, he can't even do his job as a tank. His shield is absolutely garbage and flimsy. And now with most enemies are able to bounce their attack or just have full AoE, Han to redirect the damage is just useless. And also, his attack skill scaling is not great either, and so on and so on. I want to yap about so many things that the devs could have done with Trailblazer's Preservation, but I will leave that for another video. In my head, it makes sense to just buff Trailblazer Preservation when Trailblazer Harmony and Trailblazer Remembrance are a very solid character. Last but not least, Zilla. I already spoken at length on how Zilla can be buffed in my video, so do check them out. and our viewers have given really some interesting ideas on Zilla can be buffed. But in summary, her playstyle is so sluggish at the moment, with her talent can only be triggered after defeating an enemy, which is pretty hard to trigger if we are fighting a single boss or tanky enemies that won't die in one hit. So she just needs a way to utilize her talent a lot easier. My only concern about Zilla at the moment is that she seems very unlikely to get a buff anytime soon until we somehow revisit Belobog. Perhaps if we do end up going to 80 stars and Sampo is involved in it, we will be able to see some connection with Belobog again, and that will be the prime time to fix Zilla, I think. Well, that's all 5 characters that I think really need to get buffed the most if we are excluding standard banner character. I would really love the developers to buff standard banner characters first. The OG deserves some love. Also, after this, I'm also interested to have a discussion about buffing 4-star characters. If you're interested, do let me know in the comment section. And if many of you agree that it's a good idea to talk about, it gives me more incentive to actually work on it. Before I end, as I've said many times throughout the video, next we're going to discuss about these 5 characters on how we can buff them. So I hope you're excited for that. And also I have some other discussion topics that I would like to talk about. So if you're new around here, do leave a like and subscribe to my channel so that you will know when these videos are uploaded. Thanks for watching. Until the next video, stay sharp gamers.